It was a calm Wednesday evening, the kind of quiet where the ticking of the clock feels louder than anything else in the house. My husband, Eric, had flown out to Dallas that morning for a tech summit. We'd exchanged a sleepy hug in the driveway just after sunrise. He had his carry-on slung over one shoulder, a protein bar in hand, still chewing the last bite as he kissed my forehead. "I'll message you before I crash tonight," he'd promised with that familiar lopsided smile. Then he got in the car and drove off. I stood there a moment longer than necessary, watching his taillights disappear down the street until they faded into the early morning haze. When I stepped back inside, the silence of the house wrapped around me like a blanket, soft, familiar, and just a little bit heavy. I love Eric, truly, deeply. There's comfort in the years we've built together. 17 years of shared groceries and tax returns, of inside jokes and whispered worries in the dark. But even love like that needs space to breathe. And so, with Eric gone for a few days, I found myself relishing the stillness. I curled up on the living room couch beneath my favorite knit throw, the one that always smelled faintly of lavender and old books. A mug of lavender tea warmed my hands, and for the first time in weeks, I opened a novel that had been gathering dust on the end table. The living room was clean and dimly lit, every lamp set just right, casting long shadows against the floor. The hum of the refrigerator was the only sound, steady and soothing. Upstairs, our 16-year-old son Ryan was likely glued to his monitor, headset on, barking strategies into the digital void with his online friends. Lately, he'd changed in ways that crept up slowly and then all at once. Gone was the talkative boy who used to follow me from room to room asking about clouds or dinosaurs. Now he was tall and lean, his brown hair forever falling into his eyes, and he carried himself with that quiet intensity teenagers wear like armor. He spoke in half sentences, sighed more than he smiled, and I'd learned not to take it personally. Still, I watched from a distance, hoping, always hoping, that pieces of the boy I knew were still in there, waiting for the right moment to show themselves again. Around 9:30 p.m., I heard the stairs creak. I looked up from my book to see Ryan standing in the doorway, uncertain and awkward, like he was interrupting something. "Hey, Mom," he said, voice low and a little hesitant. "Hey, sweetheart. Everything okay?" He nodded, then paused. "I was thinking, maybe we could hang out, play a game or something. Like when I was a kid." My heart skipped. That quiet invitation, so simple, so rare, it meant more than he knew. "Of course," I said, setting the book aside. "Cards?" He gave a small shrug, trying to play it cool. "Yeah, if you want." I pulled a deck from the drawer under the coffee table and patted the cushion beside me. We started with Gene Rummy. The first few rounds were clumsy. Half-forgotten rules, playful accusations of cheating, laughter spilling out over memories we hadn't touched in years. Slowly, the rhythm returned. The silence between us shifted from stiff to soft, like a song we both still knew by heart. An hour in, I brought out snacks, pretzels, apple slices, a couple of sodas, and we sank deeper into the cushions, shoulders relaxed, the unspoken tension between mother and teenage son starting to melt. That's when Ryan asked, "Do you ever wonder if you're living someone else's life?" I blinked, caught off guard. "That's a pretty big question." He stared up at the ceiling, his voice barely above a whisper. Sometimes it feels like we're all pretending. Like you and Dad. Do you ever feel like you're just going through the motions?" I looked at him, really looked at him, and saw not the little boy who used to hold my hand crossing the street, but someone growing into his own questions, his own shadows. "I think," I said slowly, "that even the most comfortable lives can start to feel like routines. It's easy to confuse stability with being stuck." Ryan nodded, eyes still on the ceiling. "I've been feeling that way too. Like I'm heading down a path that's not really mine." Before I could answer, the lights flickered, then died. The room fell into darkness, and for a beat, neither of us spoke. I laughed, the sound a little breathless. "Well, that's perfect timing." Ryan stood. "Probably just a fuse. I'll check." "I'm coming with you," I said, grabbing my phone to light the way. We headed down to the basement. The air was cooler there, touched with the scent of wood and thyme from the old herb bundles I'd hung to dry last fall. Each step creaked beneath us. Ryan crouched in front of the fuse box. "Nothing tripped," he said. "Might be the whole block." I turned to head back upstairs when something caught my attention. A small window at the far wall was open. Just a crack, but enough. "Ryan," I said quietly now. "Did you open that window?" He turned to look. "No." "Why?" We walked over together. The latch looked bent, slightly twisted. Not broken, but off. My voice dropped. "That's not right." Ryan's posture changed instantly. Alert, protective. "Stay here. I'll check outside." "No," I said sharply, gripping his sleeve. "We should call someone." But he shook his head and crept upstairs. I followed, phone flashlight casting long, uneasy shadows along the floorboards. We scanned the backyard. No wind. No movement. Just a heavy, listening quiet. And yet something had shifted. Not in the world, but between us. Ryan turned to me. "This is gonna sound weird, but I'm kind of glad this happened." I raised an eyebrow. "Glad because we're talking. Really talking. It's been a while." Tears pricked my eyes. "I've missed you," I whispered. We locked the doors, shut the window, and lit a few candles to chase away the dark. Back in the living room, Ryan hesitated, then sat again. "There's something I've been hiding," he said, voice low. "I didn't want to bring it up while Dad was around." I felt my stomach knot. "Okay. What is it?" He swallowed. "I don't want to major in economics. I know it's what you and Dad hoped for, but I want to write stories, script, whatever." I applied to some writing programs, secretly, and I got in. He handed me his phone. An email, glowing faintly in the dark, from a prestigious arts college in California. My breath caught. "Ryan, this is amazing." His eyes searched mine. "You're not disappointed?" "No," I said, voice thick. "I'm proud. So proud. I just wish you'd told us sooner." He smiled then, really smiled, and for the first time in what felt like years I saw the boy he used to be. "Thanks, Mom. That means a lot." Just then the lights flickered back on, bathing the room in soft yellow. We both laughed, the sound easy now, light. As I moved to blow out the candles, he reached for my hand. "Thanks for always being on my side. Even when I didn't show I needed it." I squeezed his fingers gently. "Always, Ryan." We stayed up past midnight, talking about dreams, college, stories he wanted to write, things he was afraid of. At some point we turned on a movie, neither of us paying much attention, just grateful to be there in sync together again. Later, as I walked through the quiet house turning off lights, I paused in the hallway. Baby photos lined the walls. Chubby cheeks, finger-painted hands, gummy grins. And now here he was, taller than me, with his own voice, his own vision of the world. When I finally went to bed, I didn't feel worry. Felt peace. Eric came home 2 days later. I told him everything. It took him a minute to adjust, to let go of the future we'd once imagined for Ryan, but he got there. Because in the end, it wasn't our future to dictate. It was Ryan's. And that made all the difference. Not all life-changing moments come with fanfare. Sometimes they arrive quietly, disguised in candlelight, card games, and the tentative voice of your child asking, "Do you want to hang out?"